All right. Welcome back. I'm doing a different style video. This is kind of like an homage or like a taking inspiration from the hockey guy. And it's kind of ironic that I'm taking inspiration from, the hockey guy and the Irish guy. So if anyone knows anyone more like, the blank guys that would be good for inspiration, that'd be great. But basically what I'm going to be doing is just kind of breaking down all the roster changes or offseason rumors that have been happening like this week. I'm hoping to get these out basically weekly. Especially since I've filled out this board and I'm going to need to like pause this video and then fill it out some more because there's more information than what's on here. But yeah, so basically I'm just kind of a whiteboard and it's going to be like detailing all the stuff that's happened this week. I'm hoping to release this on Sunday the 22nd. And I think I'm going to have to reverse this because based on the way the camera is showing, it's reading backwards. And so I think when I'm editing this, I'm going to be like on the left side, which is not where I am right now. Either way, it's very confusing. But honestly, like, I have a Space Station hockey jersey. I showed it off in one of the latest shorts that I made. Go check that out. Although I'm going to cover the information here. But to pay homage, I'm wearing the Columbus Blue Jackets because I'm a Blue Jackets fan. And, taking inspiration from a hockey channel, figured I'd wear this. Either ways, enough dilly-dallying. I'm recording on my iPad. I have this mic. Hopefully my iPad doesn't fall over. I'm a little worried about that, but we're going to find out. So, first one, Dignitas. We heard this earlier in the week. It was one of the first things we heard literally on Monday right after the World Championship. They're planning on rebuilding around Stizzy. So, Joyo has been released. I think Evo has already announced that he's looking for options. I don't have that on here. That happened more recently than I thought and didn't put that on. Violent Pandas, TBD, but he's got some connections to the org. I believe he is engaged to Melina, who is somewhere on the staff of Dignitas, like vice president, something like that. Hey, y'all. Editing Martian here. Just shutting in to say that Melina is no longer with Dignitas, apparently, which is news to me. But I figured I'd clarify that. So, back to the video. So, I should check that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Violent Panda sticks around. My main theory for this roster has already been disproven. So, I have no idea what direction they're going to go in. I'll get to that theory a little bit later. I was thinking it could be CRR and Reysbull because I know they were planning on coming back to North America. But there's a good chance it's looking like they're going to stay with Complexity. Again, I'll talk about that later. Gen G is the big one. And I got a lot of crap for this logo on Twitter, and so I fixed it. It has the G's now, so hopefully it's slightly better. But if it's not, please roast me in the comments. The biggest thing was that Firstkiller and ApparentlyJack are exploring their options. We haven't heard anything from Chronic just yet, which is a little confusing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's also looking for options, but it's also like they could still end up building around him. So haven't heard much from Chronic just yet, but he's also on Twitter less, so that's possibly it. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to put out a looking for tweet, or he should be putting out a looking for team tweet soon if he's not going to be built around at Gen G. Looks like they're going to go for a more budget option. That's what Achilles from Shift was saying. They're going to scale back on the amount of resources they pour into the esport, which honestly, to me, makes a lot of sense. They assembled a super team for this year, picked up Firstkiller, had ApparentlyJack and Chronic, like their major winning team alongside that. They went really big for 2024, but they also went really big before we knew what the 2024 season was going to look like. And so then they ended up changing the formats, 2 splits, less major spots. It got a lot more unstable to be in the scene, less decals, less, esports goal explosions. And so, with the Blast transition, I think they built a super team for the wrong year, and then that super team completely flopped. And so they definitely did not get a good return on investment. So it doesn't surprise me that they're going more budget and kind of seeing how the landscape shapes out. But Genji Arnold did say that they are absolutely planning on staying in the scene, which is good. Yeah, that was the last point. Oxygen. I have Oxygen on here. I don't know if I'm going to ever have to draw this logo again because we have no idea what's happening with Oxygen itself. All the players have announced that they are in free agency. We didn't see a tweet from the Oxygen Rocket League account itself, at least not as of like when the players were tweeting this. The Boston Breach is like done. They told all the Boston Breach is like the Call of Duty kind of like Oxygen is for esports, but Call of Duty, since it's franchise and like based on location, Boston Breach was Oxygen, but for Call of Duty. They all like basically got kicked out of the apartments like with a day's notice, completely shutting down, selling their spot or something. I don't really know. I haven't followed up on that scene. I'm surprised that they were even representing Oxygen at Worlds because Oxygen is also the parent company for Shift, which does all the offseason rumors. I'm gonna be honest. If Shift was like still pumping out reports the way they are, I don't know if I'd be doing this. Because Shift is normally like very on top of it, have all the reports talking about all the stuff. I need to not hit this. And basically, like, I'm hoping to kind of step into that void where there's, not enough information coming through and just, talk about, what my opinions are on some of these changes happening, and hopefully like keep people informed as well. So the roster doesn't look like it's splitting though. That was kind of a surprise to me. It's not a surprise to everyone, but it seems like as of now, Joyo, Oski, and Archie, along with their coach Snaski, are looking for options together. So Snaski picked up or tweeted out looking for org, which is probably the biggest indication that they are going to stick together. They made a top 6 run at Worlds, which is not bad at all. I think there's a lot that could come of, you know, taking advantage of a situation that you never thought you were going to be in. You know, when Oxygen got that call that's like, hey, you guys can go to Worlds, it's like all of a sudden it's like, wow, we actually have a chance. Let's go out there and perform, give it our all. Like, there were no stakes because they shouldn't have been there. And part of the you know, the back of your head probably knows that. When the season was on the line, they went out 9th through 11th. So could this Oxygen roster still improve? Absolutely. I think they could. And I think it's one of the strongest combinations in Europe if you're going to compete with a French top 4. But it also wouldn't surprise me if once we start seeing the French top 4 make moves, if something changes there. This is also the last time I'm going to have to draw this M80 logo. It took a lot of time, and it's definitely bigger than it should be. And they're not really representing M80, but I figured I'd draw this logo because it has Joreuz and Nass. They're teaming up with Oaly for the Flip and Spin tournament. I'm going to be 100% honest. I forgot this tournament was happening. It has the French top 4, from what I know. Or at least there's 4 invited teams. We don't know who those are, but they're going to be the French top 4. But these 3 players teaming up. Oaly was on jobless last season, so it's interesting to see him elsewhere. But he did team up with Nass for that Shift Summer League. It was him, Exo, and Nass, I believe. Or, yeah, it would have been Exo, because Rezi was the other player. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Don't quote me on that. But Joreuz and Nass still teaming, which is kind of surprising to me after the entire, you know, M80 debacle last year. So, but yeah, there's no word on if they're going to be representing an org yet, which is why I drew this logo. And then I have this little itty bitty SSG logo. You can barely kind of see it. It's a little cute. Only reason I have it is because LJ is included in this rumor. Probably the biggest news of this week, aside from Genji splitting up, is that Firstkiller and LJ are already established duo heading into the next season. So looks like we're going super team again. There's no word on the third for this team, and there's no word on which organization they're going to be on. I would love for them to be on Space Station. I'm going to be honest. I didn't really expect LJ and Firstkiller to team up. I know that was a popular theory. They're obviously 2 of the best players. I thought there was a chance that they would still keep different paths, especially with the reputation that Firstkiller comes with. And I think he's starting to shed this, but there's also just the impact that he has had on teammates past. I didn't think it was going to be the best move for LJ's career to team up with Firstkiller. I genuinely hope to be proven wrong. And honestly, if this happens, I hope it's for Space Station. Like, there wouldn't be a better roster you could ask for. If we're going to go all in, I hope we go all in. Do I think Space Station's going to go all in? I really don't think they are. I think there's going to be another org that comes in with a higher salary and it's like, we'll pay you guys, pick up who you want, and go with it. It wouldn't surprise me. I know Cloud9's kind of like notorious for not shelling out the big bucks, but it wouldn't surprise me if like a huge org comes in and says, here's a bunch of money, go build and win championships. And I'm not sure who that's going to be, but there's a good chance that org is going to beat out Space Station, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Space Station rebuild around Hawkster in Chicago next year. Pick up a young player and go from there, because I know Hawkster and Chicago are good friends, and if neither of them end up on this team, then I think they stick together. But yeah, I have to pause and like fill this board out again and then go right back at it. All right, and the last little bit of information, I kind of hate how I drew this power logo. You definitely can't tell it's a power logo. It's supposed to be a power logo. I don't have a yellow marker, which is why Dignitas and Space Station were in orange. But I got tired of drawing in orange, so I wanted to draw in black. But Jimma is looking for a team. So this was actually very shocking to me. But it's a decision made by Jimma himself. He's decided that he's going to look for opportunities abroad. He said that originally, like coaching, he made a 2-minute video on this. It's released on his Twitter. I would recommend going and check that out if you're interested. Like, Power's already made a statement, released him. Like, he's definitely not coaching this Power team for next year. But in the video, he was talking about how like coaching was always like a passion project, like just kind of for fun. And then he was really good at it, to be honest. He was definitely like the best coach that OC has had ever, with due respect to LBP, because LBP has also had some phenomenal, you know, accolades, and he's gotten a lot of respect from the players that he's coached as well. But Jimma was definitely the best coach out of OCE, and he's looking for opportunities abroad. So he's looking to coach in Europe or North America. I'm assuming he's hoping to get an org with them as well. Really step it up in terms of the opportunities that he can present himself, and probably make this like much more of a career for himself. I'm not sure what coaching gets paid, to be honest, and I'm definitely not sure what coaching in OCE gets paid. So, yeah, I'll hope that Jimma gets himself on a good team, because I think this is a really good coach, and anyone who's looking for a coach should be absolutely jumping on this opportunity. I think this is a great coach. Like, if you're even like 5 through 8 trying to fight for that land spot in North America or Europe, like, this is one of the guys you would probably love to have behind your back. And the last bit of news, which I kind of teased a little bit earlier, is that Complexity is planning on moving back to North America. This is not a surprise to me, to be honest. It was always the plan for Complexity to compete in North America. They're a North American-based org. The reason that they picked up the True Neutral Squad is because they were able to better fund them. Like, that's like way back in the day in like 2021 when that original roster of AJG, Reysbull, and Shad moved over. But the plan was never to be in South America. I think the reason they were in South America for the 2024 season is they were having some issues with Doritos' visa. Dorito ended up going back to Europe for the second split. I don't even know if he competed, to be honest. But Complexity picked up Diaz. It didn't really go well. They finished in 5th in points for South America. They made 1 top 4 and then I believe 2 top 8s. There's a video on my channel, The Greatest Kickoff, that Complexity is a part of. They ended up losing that game to Ninjas of Pajamas. They were up 4-2 in Game 6. They were up 3-2 in the series. Up 4-2 in Game 6. 13 seconds left. And Ninjas of Pajamas pull that back, win the series in Game 7, and go on to win the whole event. That's a great story. Go check that video out if you haven't seen it. That's one of the best I've made, if not the best. But, yeah, back to Complexity, because I went on a complete tangent. Moving to North America was always the plan. And I'm a little surprised that they're going to do this with sticking with the same roster. Soren said in comments, because Soren has announced that, this was the plan. Achilles originally announced this, but then Soren has backed it up. He's been talking on Twitter a little bit, saying that they're planning on sticking with the same roster, which is CRR, Reysbull, and Diaz. I will say it's a long offseason, but if they want to run this back and this trio is, dead set on sticking together, go for it. Personally, I'm a little surprised. When Diaz was brought into Complexity, it was a move that was supposed to push them into the top echelon of the esport. They were very clearly 9th at the Copenhagen Major, and dropping Dorito for Diaz was like, okay, this team is now a top 8 team. And it did not pan out at all. Again, didn't make a final in that second split with Diaz, and I don't think that's Diaz's fault. Diaz has a ton of talents. He's definitely like the next potential Brazilian superstar, up there with the likes of Swift. I think Mata's been phenomenal. He's shown his chops on land a couple times. And, ever since Jan, everyone's looking for the next Jan. And people are saying that Diaz could be that. But I'm a little surprised they're sticking together, given that the results didn't go their way. And there's been definitely a heated debate since I brought this up that I don't think they can make a land in North America with this roster that got 5th in SAM. And it's kind of sparked that whole, like, is North America deeper than South America debate. Personally, I still think there's a lot more tougher matches in that 5 through 8 range for North America than there is South America, which is going to make it harder if you're fighting against those teams to get in. Like, if you're in that round 5 of Swiss, you're facing a good opponent, most likely. Luminosity, who made Copenhagen, lost in round 5 of Swiss 2, events in a row. So there's good teams in that last round. And it's going to be a challenge every single series, unless you drop down to O2 and face like an Akron. But yeah, I'm surprised they're sticking with the same roster. They have a high potential, and if they can actually figure it out and they take this offseason to figure that out, then they could definitely be dangerous. I don't see it. I'm probably not going to end up predicting it. And I wouldn't hate to see it, though, because I got a lot of faith in Diaz. And I think a large reason why Diaz is also moving to North America is the potential to probably earn more money in that ones circuit. He's a really good ones player, and he's already played a lot of ones in North America. I believe he did really well, at least, in Salt Mine 3. So, yeah, other than that, that's really all the news that we have for this offseason. I rambled on far too long, but I'll hopefully be back here in a week, probably with more news, because that's how the offseason tends to go. Biggest questions are who's going to end up with LJ and Firstkiller and which organization they're going to end up, of course. But yeah, if you enjoy this, please let me know. Let me know in the comments who you think that third is going to be with LJ and Firstkiller, where you think they're going to end up, some of your theories heading into this offseason. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.